Imagine standing in a vast open field at sunrise. The horizon stretches endlessly, bathed in golden light. The wind brushes against your skin, carrying the scent of earth and grass. Everything you see feels fixed, certain. The path you walk, the trees swaying gently in the breeze, the birds tracing arcs through the sky. And yet, in the vastness of existence, what you perceive as fixed may be only one of countless possibilities. For every step you take, for every choice you make, there could exist another version of this field somewhere else. A subtle variation shaped by a decision you didn't make. A random fluctuation in events beyond your control. This is the seed of the multiverse, the astonishing idea that our universe may not be alone. The notion of parallel universes has roots stretching back centuries, though it only took on scientific rigor in the 20th century. Early philosophers and storytellers toyed with the idea in thought experiments, worlds where history unfolded differently, where minor changes produced monumental consequences. But physics gave these speculations a framework. In the strange, counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics, the behavior of particles challenges our classical intuition. A single particle can exist in multiple states simultaneously, occupying many positions until it is observed. This is the principle of superposition. If such uncertainty applies at the microscopic level, what might it mean when scaled up? Some interpretations suggest that every quantum event spawns a branching of reality, a universe for each possible outcome. Every time you make a choice, no matter how trivial, the universe may split, creating a new timeline in which a different decision was made. Consider an example. You are choosing whether to take a different route to work, or perhaps deciding what to eat for breakfast. In one universe, you stick to your usual path, eat your usual meal, and move through the day as you know it. In another, you take a new route, notice something unexpected, and perhaps even meet someone who alters the course of your life. Each of these variations could extend outward, rippling into countless other outcomes, branching further with every moment of decision. Multiply this by the trillions of people, the infinitude of choices, and the resulting web of realities becomes almost unimaginable. Modern cosmology offers its own perspectives on why the multiverse might exist. The theory of cosmic inflation, developed in the 1980s, describes the universe's earliest moments as a period of exponential expansion, fractions of a second after the Big Bang. Some models of inflation suggest that this process could produce bubble universes, pockets of space-time that expand independently, each with potentially different physical laws, constants, or even dimensions. Our universe, in this view, might be just one bubble among countless others in a vast cosmic foam. Each bubble could host stars, galaxies, and planets, or perhaps something entirely alien, unimaginable by human experience. Even familiar elements of our existence, the earth, the sky, the sun, gain a new perspective through this lens. Every feature we take for granted may be one of infinite possibilities. In a parallel universe, continents may be rearranged, histories rewritten, civilizations may have evolved differently, or not at all. The small choices we make in our personal lives, whether to say yes or no, to pursue one passion over another, could generate entirely new realities, branching endlessly into a vast tree of potentialities. The multiverse concept forces us to reconsider the notion of inevitability. We are accustomed to thinking of our universe as a single timeline, a sequence of cause and effect. But if other universes exist, then every event, every outcome, exists somewhere, whether we witness it or not. Our triumphs and failures are both unique and ordinary, monumental and insignificant, simultaneously unfolding across infinite realities. History provides intriguing hints at our fascination with alternate realities. Writers like Jorge Luis Borges imagine worlds that exist within books, labyrinths of possibility, mirrors reflecting mirrors. Science fiction authors explored worlds where history diverged, where a single change altered the trajectory of nation, civilizations, even the cosmos itself. Today, these imaginative exercises resonate with cutting-edge physics, where speculation and evidence begin to converge. Yet, for all its complexity, the multiverse remains elusive. We cannot observe these other universes directly. Their existence is inferred through mathematics, probability, and the constraints of known physics. This elusiveness is part of what makes the idea both frustrating and exhilarating. It challenges not only our scientific understanding, but also our perception of reality itself. It invites us to embrace uncertainty, to consider the profound implications of infinite possibilities, and to marvel at the staggering scope of existence. By the end of this chapter, the field at sunrise is no longer a single horizon. It has multiplied into countless overlapping vistas, a window into the infinite. The universe is not a fixed stage on which life unfolds. It is a branching network of paths, decisions, and possibilities, some familiar, some incomprehensible, all awaiting exploration. The choices we make, the paths we walk, are threads in a vast cosmic tapestry, a reminder that reality may be far richer, stranger, and more wondrous than our senses alone could ever reveal. Mirrors of ourselves. If Chapter 1 opened the door to infinite worlds, Chapter 2 invites us to step inside them. Imagine looking into a mirror, not a simple reflection, but a window into another reality. On the other side, you exist, but not quite the same. Perhaps in this version of the world, you made a different choice last week, last year, or decades ago. Maybe you studied a different subject, pursued a different career, or never met someone who changed the trajectory of your life. In this universe, everything familiar about you and your surroundings is subtly altered, like a painting viewed through shifting water. The concept of mirrored selves is one of the most compelling and disconcerting aspects of the multiverse. While the laws of physics may allow multiple universes to coexist, the real fascination lies in the human experience. What would it mean to encounter another version of yourself, one shaped by every decision you didn't take? Could you recognize them? Or would they feel like a stranger inhabiting your skin, thinking your thoughts, but living a different story? Philosophers have long toyed with similar questions. The ancient Greeks asked whether fate is fixed, or if our choices matter. In the modern era, thought experiments like Schrödinger's cat, a scenario where a cat is simultaneously alive and dead until observed, hint at a universe where multiple outcomes can exist at once. Scale that to human life, and every decision we make spawns countless alternate realities. In one world, you said yes to an opportunity. In another, you said no. One version of you lives in the city. Another wanders a small village by the sea. Each you is real in its own context, experiencing the consequences of choices that never touched your own reality. We can see echoes of these ideas in art, literature, and storytelling. Jorge Luis Borges imagined labyrinths of infinite libraries, where every book represents a different version of existence. Science fiction frequently plays with parallel selves. characters encountering alternate versions of themselves, witnessing lives that could have been, exploring the consequences of divergence. These narratives resonate because they touch on a deep human truth. We constantly wonder what might have been, or even in our everyday lives. Consider a moment you know well, perhaps a crossroads in your life, a decision you agonized over. The choice you made shaped everything that followed. But now imagine that for each path not taken, a universe exists where a different you made the opposite choice. In one reality, you stayed in your hometown. In another, you moved across the globe. In one, a friendship endured. In another, it dissolved. The small, seemingly inconsequential decisions ripple outward, influencing relationships, careers, and even the world itself. In some universes, you may have achieved your dreams. In others, you may have failed spectacularly. Every possibility exists simultaneously, like overlapping layers of a dream. Science offers ways to think about these mirrored selves. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, proposed by Hugh Everett in the 1950s, suggests that every quantum event branches into separate realities. While originally a theoretical framework for particles, this idea extends naturally to the macroscopic world. Each decision, every action, could generate a new branch. A mirror world where an alternate you lives out a life defined by that choice. While we cannot observe these other selves directly, the thought experiment forces us to confront profound questions about identity, free will, and destiny. The psychological dimension is equally fascinating. Humans are wired to imagine alternatives, to replay scenarios and ask, what if? This mental exercise, often called counterfactual thinking, allows us to anticipate consequences and learn from past experiences. But in a universe of mirrored selves, these what-ifs are not just mental exercises. They are real somewhere, unfolding in parallel. The very act of wondering about other possibilities hints at the multiverse within our minds, even if the universes themselves remain hidden. By exploring mirrored selves, we also confront the nature of selfhood. Who are we if other versions of us exist, living different lives in different worlds? Are we defined by our choices, our memories, or the continuity of our consciousness? If every possible outcome exists somewhere, the concept of a single, unique self becomes fluid, almost poetic. A symphony of possibilities rather than a fixed note. As we move through this chapter, it becomes clear that the multiverse is not only a cosmic idea, it is deeply personal. It challenges us to reflect on our choices, our regrets, and our dreams. It invites us to imagine ourselves in other lives, to empathize with versions of ourselves that might have been, and to marvel at the endless creativity of existence. In this way, the mirrors of the multiverse are not cold or distant. They are intimate, reflective, and profoundly human. By the end of this chapter, the field at sunrise is no longer a single landscape, nor just a window into infinite possibilities. It is a gallery of selves, a hall of mirrors, where each reflection tells a different story, and each story is as real as the one you live today. The multiverse is vast, yes, but it is also personal, a reminder that our lives, our choices, and ourselves are threads in a boundless, ever-branching tapestry, physics of the multiverse. If the first two chapters invited us to imagine infinite possibilities and mirrored selves, this chapter asks, how could it actually work? What does physics say about the multiverse? and what kinds of realities might exist beyond our own. At the heart of the multiverse concept is quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that governs the smallest scales of the universe. In the quantum world, particles behave in ways that defy classical intuition. A single electron can exist in multiple locations at once. A photon can behave like a wave and a particle simultaneously, and outcomes are probabilistic rather than deterministic. One interpretation of this strange behavior, called the many worlds interpretation, proposes that every quantum event spawns a separate branch of reality. In other words, the universe is constantly splitting, creating countless parallel worlds where every possible outcome of every interaction is realized. Imagine flipping a coin. In our observable universe, you see it land heads or tails. But in a many-world scenario, both outcomes actually occur. One in this universe, the other in a parallel one. Scale this up to the trillions of quantum events happening every second, and the branching becomes inconceivably vast. Every choice, every random fluctuation, every tiny event could generate a new branch, a universe that mirrors ours, yet unfolds differently. Physics offers other pathways to parallel realities. Consider cosmic inflation, the theory that the universe underwent exponential expansion in its earliest moments. Certain inflation models suggest that this expansion may not have been uniform. Instead, different regions of space could have inflated at slightly different rates, forming isolated bubble universes with their own physical constants. One bubble might have the same laws of physics as ours. Another might be dominated by entirely different forces, where matter behaves differently, stars never form, or time flows at a different rate. Some theorists call this the Level 2 multiverse, a cosmic foam of countless universes, each a self-contained reality. Then there is string theory, an attempt to unify all fundamental forces of nature. String theory predicts extra spatial dimensions beyond the three we experience that could fold in on themselves or stretch into alternate realities. These dimensions might host universes with entirely different properties, like landscapes where gravity is stronger, light behaves differently, or atoms take unfamiliar forms. Together, these ideas suggest a hierarchy of multiverses, each nested within another, each governed by different rules, yet all part of a larger, incomprehensible cosmos. While these theories are compelling, detecting other universes remains a profound challenge. By definition, parallel universes exist outside our observable space-time. They cannot be seen directly. Scientists look for indirect clues, subtle imprints in the cosmic microwave background, anomalies in particle behavior, or patterns in cosmic expansion that hint at collisions with other bubbles. Every experiment we run is a step toward understanding the unimaginable. Though the multiverse may ultimately remain an elegant mathematical and philosophical idea rather than a physically observable fact, the implications of the physics are staggering. If the multiverse exists, every outcome of every choice, every historical event, every possible configuration of matter is realized somewhere. The universe we inhabit, the one we see, measure, and experience, is just one thread in a vast, infinite tapestry. What we consider reality is not singular. It is a slice of possibility, a shadow of a greater, boundless structure. Yet, the human mind is relentless in its curiosity. Physicists have proposed thought experiments and potential observational methods to probe the boundaries of other universes. One idea is to look for cosmic fingerprints, If our universe collided with another bubble in its early history, subtle distortions in the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, might reveal the encounter. Tiny anomalies in the behavior of particles, unexpected patterns in gravity, or even fluctuations in the fundamental constants of nature could hint at interactions with other realities. These clues, if found, would not only confirm the existence of parallel worlds, but also offer a glimpse into a universe far grander than the one we perceive. On a more speculative frontier, some scientists imagine quantum gateways, devices that could manipulate the probabilities of quantum events to create access to other branches of reality. While these ideas are deeply theoretical, they echo the themes of science fiction, the universe as a network of possibilities, and human ingenuity as a potential bridge between them. Even if such gateways remain forever beyond our reach, thinking about them stretches our understanding of what might be achievable, expanding the boundaries of imagination and scientific inquiry alike. The philosophical implications of crossing the divide are equally profound. What would it mean to interact with another version of ourselves? Could we learn from a self that made different choices, lived a different life, or faced different consequences? Would seeing another reality make our own choices feel more or less significant? The multiverse forces us to reconsider what it means to be unique, to have agency, and to experience meaning. In a cosmos where every possibility is realized somewhere, existence becomes both more complex and more wondrous. Even if physical travel between worlds remains impossible, the multiverse can be explored in other ways. Through thought experiments, mathematics, and imagination, by visualizing branching timelines, mirrored selves, and alternative histories, we engage with the multiverse mentally, stepping through its doors with curiosity and creativity. In a sense, every act of imagining another reality is a small crossing, a mental bridge that allows us to experience infinity without leaving our own world. Art, literature, and film play a powerful role in this exploration. Stories like Jorge Luis Borges's Labyrinthine Libraries, Philip K. Dick's Alternate Histories, or contemporary films about parallel worlds allow audiences to inhabit experiences they cannot physically reach. These narratives provide more than entertainment. They offer a way to wrestle with the multiverse, to consider ethical dilemmas, emotional truths, and the consequences of alternate choices. They are mirrors in which we can see not only other worlds, but also ourselves, refracted through the prism of possibility. There is also a humbling lesson in the idea of crossing the divide. The multiverse reminds us that our perception of reality is limited. What we see, touch, and measure is only a slice of existence, a single thread in a cosmic tapestry that may stretch into infinity. This perspective fosters both awe and humility. It encourages us to embrace uncertainty, to recognize the vastness of possibilities, and to appreciate the fragile, fleeting nature of our own experiences. Each moment becomes precious, precisely because it is one path among many, one choice among countless. Some scientists suggest that even indirect interactions with other universes might be possible in the future. Advanced civilizations, if they exist, could potentially harness technologies beyond our current understanding. Machines that manipulate space-time, quantum computers that explore alternate outcomes, or energy sources that allow travel across dimensions. While speculative, these possibilities expand the imagination and provide a vision of what might be achievable in the distant future. They remind us that the divide between worlds, while immense, is not necessarily absolute. Ultimately, crossing the divide is as much an internal journey as an external one. By contemplating the multiverse, we confront questions about identity, choice, and meaning. We learn to see our own lives as part of a greater whole, connected to countless other threads in a universe of infinite potential. Every decision, every experience, is a bridge, a moment where one reality could have become another. In acknowledging the existence of possibilities beyond our perception, we cultivate wonder, humility, and imagination. By the end of this chapter, the field at sunrise has transformed once again. It is no longer simply a horizon, no longer merely mirrors of selves, no longer abstract branches of probability. It is a portal, a place where imagination meets science, where philosophy intersects with physics, and where curiosity invites us to explore what lies beyond. The divide may be vast, mysterious, and perhaps ultimately uncrossable, but the act of contemplating it brings us closer to the infinite. In that contemplation, we participate in the multiverse itself, not by stepping through doors or traveling across dimensions, but by daring to imagine them, to understand them, and to marvel at the staggering complexity of existence. And in this, the multiverse becomes not a distant abstraction, but a deeply human story. A story of possibility, reflection, and wonder that stretches outward into infinity, inviting us to step forward, even if only in thought.